Alright guys, so in this video I am going to be mapping the Titanic, taking a look at, from the bow to the stern, room by room, where was everything located, kind of my big takeaways, and also referencing the movie and talking about where certain scenes took place. So this is just a very good visual representation that makes it really easy. I found this online. It does have everything pretty much listed. You can take a look at the bow of the ship and a few different things that I kind of see. That big windy staircase right next to the crew quarters. You also have, the cargo hold. That's where the iceberg originally broke through. You've also got the famous car, and then the third class cabins. That is where Jack and Fabrizio would have stayed. We know that because they show Fabrizio stepping down onto the water, and the third class cabins were some of the first to flood. Also, the crew quarters. All of this area of the ship was probably completely waterlogged, completely fully flooded by the time it broke in two, because this is the way bow section, and a lot of these areas would be receiving water pretty early. And then you've got on top the well deck, you have the third class entrance, which leads down into one of the main third class open spaces on the ship. They also have a similar thing on the way stern of the ship, and then kind of all of those portholes, like right under the forecast deck. All of that is not public space. A lot of people think because those are portholes, it's public space, but no, that was more like storage, well, and things like that, because the crew was located right directly under that. Moving on to the next image, we're getting to a bunch of the first class kind of main cabins. Titanic had a load of first class cabins. A lot of them are not nearly as nice as you think, because we're kind of used to the cabins that are located right next to the grand staircase. They've got multiple bedrooms. They've got a sitting room. These were just your standard first class cabins on A deck, B deck, C deck, D deck, and E deck. The interesting thing in this section that I want to note, you have that weird staircase at an angle going all the way down, and there is the squash court. And the squash court is very intriguing because look at how big that space was. That likely flooded very early on. Water likely came up through the vents, and the squash court was a virtual lake early in the flooding, probably in the complete darkness, but you can kind of see the way to get to it was pretty. It was a pretty vertical, like double staircase. You also have a third class corridor right next to the swimming bath, and there you can see the famous Boiler Room 6, which did receive water immediately on impact with the iceberg. But a lot of those cabins that you see towards the bow of the ship, those are just your standard first class cabins. And then on top on the boat deck, that's where the crew would be. The captain had his own writing room. He had his own bedroom. All that area is up there. You also do have a chart room, and then also other bedrooms for some of the more high-ups in the White Star Line crew. Moving on to the middle of the ship, you can see on the left side a lot more kind of standard, maybe a few upscale first-class staterooms there. Anything in red is a little bit more upscale. It's got two portholes to it. Anything in green is kind of just your standard run-of-the-mill, the lowest of the low in terms of first class. On the way bottom, you do have the swimming bath and the electric bath connected right to the Turkish bath, along with the hot room, steam room. The Turkish bath was actually an entire complex, so there was the main Turkish bath area, and then there were other rooms right next to it. That is as low as you could go in terms of the grand staircase. The grand staircase is interesting because of how big it is. That is the main grand staircase, the one with the dome. You can see it going all the way down to the Turkish baths, but at that point it was just kind of a stairwell. It wasn't the big grand curved thing, but you can see all the way at the bottom the first class reception room, which leads into the first class dining room. You've also got some of the big time impressive cabins, C-55, C-57. These were all styled. They were all custom. B-51, 53, Private Promenade. That was seen in the movie. First class reception room, by the way, was also seen in the movie several times. And then you do have the gymnasium on the boat deck. Also, right to the left of the dome, you've got a few cabins located. In this image, it only shows one because this is a condensed, so it's not going to be able to show everything, and it's only one side. But you do have a cabin. There were 4 total cabins located on the boat deck. I always thought that was pretty cool. Theoretically, you could take advantage of that and make it to where, you give them bigger windows because it's on the boat deck, so you'd be able to do that. You wouldn't have to go with portholes, but I just thought that was cool that the Titanic had some of those. Moving on to the next image, just shifting more towards the stern. You can see the reading and writing room, which was barely used. It was only open to women, and it was not shown in the movie. That is right above the private promenade deck. There were 2 of those on Titanic. You've got more exclusive custom style suites. These are the more expensive ones. B58, 60, 64, C70, C72, C74. Under that, you've got the massive first class dining hall. Below that, you've got Scotland Road. And below, you do have the third class dining room, which was split between stairs. You've got the forward area and the aft area on that. And then on top, you do have the first class lounge, which was shown a few times, not very much. Right when the Titanic started sinking, there was a scene where Thomas Andrews was in the lounge, I believe, kind of surveying things. That was where the band was playing. And then also there was a scene earlier in the movie with Rose and her mother. They were in the first class lounge as well. Moving on to the next area, you can see the first class promenade. You've got more first class rooms. You have the maid and valets area. You've got the first class barber shop. Yes, Titanic did have a barber shop. We're kind of getting into the archives of the ship now because they didn't really feature that at all in the movie, and you really wouldn't know unless you did some research into it. Another thing a lot of people don't know, Titanic did have another grand staircase with another dome. It was just kind of a baby grand staircase. The aft grand staircase located right next to it was another room. You can see it right there. And then you also do have the restaurant reception, which is right within the aft grand staircase. You've got Cafe Parisian, which was the major addition to the Titanic, kind of the Promenade Cafe, very unique feature. Under that, you have the first and second class pantry areas. You've got Scotland Road continuing. It was a massive area of the ship that really opened up the flooding. Below that, you've got the dog kennels, and then you can see that is where the boilers end, and it goes into the engine room. Moving on, you can see the first class smoking room. Really massive room located right above the Cafe Parisian, and the a la carte restaurant, which in this depiction shows the cafes right next to each other. In real life, the a la carte restaurant was inside, but I think this is because it's trying to depict all the areas. Under that, you do have some more first class cabins, it looks like. And then you're starting to see some of the second class cabins on E deck, along with the second class barbershop there. You also have the second class stairwell along with the elevator that is shown as well. The first class smoking room, which was only open to males, goes directly into the palm court, which was another first class area of the ship. Really, really like that area, and that is located towards the stern. Had some nice windows because it was located up towards the top of the ship, and there was a lot of natural light. Right under that, you've got the second class smoking room. You can see the second class main stairwell kind of facilitating all of these areas for them. The second class library and the second class dining, along with a bunch of the second class rooms. All those rooms, E, G, F, all of those rooms kind of in light purple. Those are all second class rooms right there. And then you do have the main third class family cabins, which very likely never received water. A lot of these areas just completely imploded as the ship was going down. They were some of the last areas to have air on the Titanic, as morbid as that seems. And then you do have the refrigerated cargo under that, along with the propeller shaft. And then the third class general room located on the way stern of the ship, along with the poop deck. So that is just kind of a nice image looking into the Titanic. This is another one that I saw. Unfortunately, you can't really zoom into this one, but this one doesn't really seem I don't know. I don't like the colors of it. I don't like the texture. This is a good one right here. So you can see kind of all the different levels to the Titanic, all the different decks, starting with the boat deck, A deck, Promenade, C deck, D deck, and F deck, all the different areas of the ship. And then this is kind of the cutout version of the Titanic. What's notable here is the swimming pool located on your far left, and right dead in the middle, you do have the squash court. And then this is a photo of a Minecraft Titanic, all the different decks. You know, I was going to explore the Minecraft Titanic in a video, but I don't know if I'm going to do that. To me, I mean, I don't have anything against Minecraft, but it's just, it looks so ugly to me. You know, I don't know, but that's just some good stuff there. And then this is pretty sweet to see kind of the front area of the ship, some of the deck plans. You've got all the first class rooms. You've got the squash court, first and second class, luggage and mail room, cargo hold, fireman's passage, and tunnel, kind of some different stuff there. And then towards the wayfront, you can see third class, all the way on the left. As you get towards the middle of the ship, it's all first class. That's one of the things. Titanic had a lot of just standard first class rooms that weren't special, that didn't have sitting rooms, that didn't have bathrooms, that didn't have multiple bedrooms. A lot of them were just standard. And then here's just a good depiction of where the Titanic broke up, right between the third and fourth funnel there. And then this is the Lego Titanic. So the Lego Titanic is really cool. It's just so small. Like, they had to scale it down so much. And it's still 9,000 pieces, but it's just so small. But guys, that's just kind of a map, an inside interior look at the Titanic. That is going to do it for this video. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description.